Hello and welcome to my first YouTube video. I've been wanting to do this for a while now, but kind of just never found the motivation to kind of do this. But here we go. We're gonna give it a shot, and hopefully you guys can give me some feedback on where to improve. So to start us off, let's go over yesterday. So yesterday was actually one of my best days I've had in a while. Obviously it wasn't on YouTube, but it was on the spreadsheet. So we went 9-2-1 against the spread. The Maryland game, which was one of the losers, or pushers rather, that game was pretty frustrating. I think they were up 8 with like a minute and a half left, and then they gave up like a foul and a free throw to push in the end. And both North Dakota State and Drexel, two teams that rely on the three-point shot, both completely just didn't shoot well from three. So it's kind of sucked, especially since they were a bit of a higher unit play for me, but it is what it is. Solid day. I think we're up about 3 units. So let's get into today's games. Alright, first game, we have Fairfield at Merrimack. So at a high level, just looking at this game, Merrimack is just the overall better team. They're ranked 232 in offensive efficiency, which isn't great, but when you compare to Fairfield, who's ranked 358 in defense efficiency, Merrimack should have no problem getting the shots off that they want to get off. Fairfield really put up much resistance. And if you look back on the other side, Fairfield has kind of the opposite problem. So they're 208th ranked in offense efficiency, but they're going up against a Merrimack ranked 119th. And basically, the shots that they want to take, Fairfield is going to be mostly mid-range and near basket shots, which Merrimack is ranked 37th in near basket shots and 161st in mid-range defense. And they also really rely on getting points off steals. And Merrimack has really good ball control, and they're actually only ranked 54th in the nation at not giving up turnovers. So I really don't see where Fairfield will get their points from. They're also playing on the road against a team that plays relatively slowly, so I think it's going to be really frustrating. Other reasons I like this game, obviously Merrimack's had a much harder schedule, 121st in the nation compared to 303rd for Fairfield, so you kind of have to look at their stats being a bit more inflated for Fairfield. So they've played really bad teams, and they're also really bad, so it doesn't really show that Fairfield is really that great of a team. And if you're looking at just the trends, in conference games, Merrimack is 2-0 against the spread. They've beaten the spread by over 9 points. And as a home team, they haven't done well. They're 1-2 against the spread, but they've actually played much harder teams while they're at home. And the other side, which is why I like it a bit more, Fairfield's actually 1-4 against the spread as an away underdog. And they're 1-1 in conference games, which is fine. But again, at 7.5, I have this modeled at 12. I think Merrimack just slowly grinds them out and takes the win here. Wins by hopefully around double digits.
Alright, so the second game that I like is kind of a nasty one, and on paper it looks pretty disgusting, I'll admit. And this is Iona Moneyline. So obviously Iona being a favorite should tell you something about Marist and Iona, because Iona is 4-9 in the MAC and Marist is 9-2 in the MAC. But if you look into it a little bit deeper, if you look at shot quality, Iona is actually due for a lot of positive regression, which means they're probably getting off a lot of high quality shots. They're just not falling to the standard that they should be. And Marist is on the complete opposite side of that, so they're actually super lucky. And so if you adjust for those records, Marist should actually be roughly 7-4. And Iona should be 7-6. So they're actually much more equal of a team than you would imagine when it comes to a records perspective. And then just stat-wise, I have this game as an Iona win by 2. And if you dig a little bit deeper into the stats, Iona's not really a great defensive team. They're going to probably allow Marist to shoot better than they can defend in most areas. But Marist isn't necessarily great either. They're 263rd in offensive efficiency, and Iona's ranked 235 in defense efficiency. And if you look a little bit deeper into Marist, they actually like to score almost all of their points in the mid-range. That's where they shoot 41% of their shots. Or they're ranked 41 in the percentage of their shots that are mid-range. And that is actually just one of the more inefficient shots in basketball. And it's a shot that you kind of want your opponent to be taking. And Marist is ranked 233rd in mid-range percentage. So it's not like they're an incredible team. So you kind of want them to take that shot. And if you look on the other side, Iona isn't necessarily a great offensive team. They're ranked 290th in the nation to Marist 220th in defense. But they actually shoot a ton of mid-range, 32nd in the nation of their percentage of shots that are from the mid-range. and that is actually where they have the biggest advantage. They shoot at a 96th percentile from the mid-range, and Marist defends it at a 249th. And also, if you just look a little bit deeper, Iona actually is ranked 37th in points off steals and 121st in second chance opportunities. So I think Iona is just actually the better team. They've had a harder schedule. They're consistent, and I think they're going to disrupt Marist's extremely slow pace and be able to make them really uncomfortable and probably turn the ball over a lot more. So give me Iona to win. I'm just going to take the money line. I have really bad experiences with the negative 1.5 spread. I don't know why. You can probably take it too. I think they win by 2 or 3, maybe even more. All right, so the third game that I actually like is Manhattan on the road at 3.5 as away underdogs. So if you just look at this game from a top level, they're both pretty equally balanced. They're 6-5 and 6-7 in the MAC. This is a conference game. And if you kind of just look into it, Manhattan is slightly better offense, and Siena is slightly better defense. 170th in offense efficiency to Siena's 241th in defense efficiency. And Siena is ranked 275th in offense efficiency and 304th in defense efficiency. So Manhattan is just slightly worse on defense, but I think the ratio actually gives a slight edge to Manhattan. Manhattan actually plays their best on the road. They're actually ranked 25th in the nation in their improvement of play when not playing at home. And Siena is actually quite the opposite. They're 310th at home, so there's really no home edge to look at. So when I just look at it from a top level, I think these teams, there's not really an edge I can give to either team when it comes to that. Shot quality, they're about equal as well. But the one thing that I really like in this position is just the rest advantage. So Siena actually played on the 29th, so they played a couple days ago and had probably pretty hectic New Year's and whatever. But Manhattan, on the other hand, actually hasn't played since the 18th of December or the 21st of December. So they're going to have a massive rest advantage, and they're actually 3-0 against the spread when playing with a rest advantage, and Siena is 0-1 with the rest disadvantage. And furthermore, if you look at it a bit deeper, at home, Siena is a home favorite. They were negative 13 in the one against the spread on the very first and only home favorite game they've had. And on the other side, Manhattan is actually 4-1 against the spread as an away underdog. So give me two teams that I think are equally bad. One team has a few trends leading their way. Give me the points with Manhattan on the road. Alright, the fourth game that I like today is actually Xavier as a dog, a 1.5 point dog against Georgetown. So we don't really know how good Georgetown is. Like, they're 11-2 in the Big East, but they've played the 346th hardest schedule. So they've pretty much only played bad teams. And compared to Xavier, who has had the 122nd hardest schedule. So on paper, the one thing that really jumps out to me is that Georgetown just hasn't really been tested very much. And Xavier's not necessarily an easy team to deal with. They're 35th in offensive efficiency, the third best three-point shooting team in the nation. They're 36th in second chance opportunities, 91st in points off of steals, all of which aren't necessarily greatly defended by Georgetown. So I think Xavier's just going to get a ton of points off the steal. If they miss their threes, they're probably going to get a lot of second chance opportunities. And on the other side, Georgetown doesn't really impress me. If you look into their numbers a little bit deeper, they get most of their points from the near basket. They love to shoot under the basket. And that's actually one of the things that is defended best by Xavier. They're 79th best in the nation compared to Georgetown's 64th. So I don't see, they're not going to get a ton of free baskets. The only thing going for Georgetown is that they play really well at home. But I just don't see how that edge is going to help them, you know? And then if you look at shot quality, Georgetown has actually been lucky this year. So they're playing really bad teams, and they've been lucky. So they should actually be 9-4 on the year, not 11-2, if we're adjusting for this luck factor. And on the other side, Xavier's actually been unlucky. So they're 9-5. They should be 10-4. So I don't really see how you could take Georgetown in this spot. I'm going to take the 1 point because why not? But you can easily take them on the money line at plus money if you'd like. But I don't know. I don't see any reason why Georgetown would be a good team to pick here. Xavier's 3-0 in conference play this year. Georgetown is 1-1 against the spread. Give me Xavier plus 1.5. Lock it in. Alright, the final game that I like today is actually going to be Marquette as 8.5 favorites against Creighton. So if you just look at this game, you might think, wow, how's Creighton such a big dog? And there's a few reasons, but the biggest reason that I like Marquette in this spot to completely just blow out Creighton is just the balances to offense and defense. So Creighton likes to shoot threes. They're 25th in three-point percentage, but Marquette's actually 45th in the nation at defending the three. So they're not necessarily going to have a lot of easy looks. Marquette's probably going to shut them out a lot and force them to take maybe some tougher shots. They shoot pretty much most of their shots are threes. They're 12th in the nation in their percentage of shots that are threes. They shoot the near basket well, but they don't take that many near basket shots. Like their average proximity of shots is 324th. So they like to shoot far away. That's just the way they like to play. And outside of their three-point shooting, they don't do anything that well. They're not going to get a lot of points off steals. They're not going to get a lot of second chance opportunities. Mid-range is weak. I just don't love them. And then if you look on the other side, we got Marquette, who's actually the 5th in offense efficiency this year. And they don't really like to shoot free throws that much, so it's not a concern that Creighton is the best team at not fouling. But if you just look at their shooting, they shoot the 10th most shots in the nation. And of those 10 shots, they are 10th in mid-range, 7th in steals, points off steals, and 64th on offensive boards. But the biggest thing that really jumps out to me is that points off steals. They're the 7th best team in getting points off steals, and Creighton is the 281st worst team in the nation at not giving up turnovers. So I think Marquette's going to force a shit ton of turnovers this game. Marquette is a more consistent team. They have much better record quality. They've done well against good teams. I just don't see Creighton where they play their worst on the road, especially from three. Give me Marquette at home. And again, if you just look a little bit deeper in the trends, as a home favorite, Marquette is 5-2 against the spread, 7-3 as a normal favorite. They are 1-2 in conference games, which is a bit concerning, but they've also played really hard teams in their conference. And on the other side, Creighton has played well as an underdog. As an underdog, they're 1-0, and they're 2-0-1 as an underdog. But I just think this is going to be a tough game in, a Marquette team that is pretty battle-tested. I think they easily win this game by 10+. So give me Marquette as my final game of the day. And that about wraps it up. This is my first YouTube video. Hopefully it went well. If you have any feedback for me, please let me know. I'm going to try my best to improve. Maybe start figuring out a way to put some data on the screen. Maybe, I don't know. If there's anything I can improve on, please let me know. These are the 5 games that I'm going to be betting on in college basketball tomorrow. I'm not going to try to force 5 bets every single day. If I can't find a reason to bet 5, I won't. So this might be, I might bet 1 a day. I might bet 2. I might bet 12. If you look in the description, you'll see my spreadsheet and my Discord. This is where I post all of the games and my leans on each one, and then let you know which one I'm betting. So if I do bet more than 5 games, you can find the other however many there. But I'm just going to be talking about the best 5 on this YouTube channel, just because it's a lot of work. So thank you so much for listening and watching, and see you guys tomorrow.